got everyone.
Everybody stand up so we can get a nice picture. Participants. Yep, front row. How about you sit down?
Thank you.
Not second row. You can stay standing. And third row, you stay standing too.
Blood.
Well, their kind of heads are in between everybody, so I think that'll work.
Well, there's Alejandro.
Let's see. Do you want to put him back in, or do you want to go back to class? We'll put an alternate in for you right now. So. Let me read the first page. Sure. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Mr. Burns, and this is Mr. McLaughlin. This is our History Bee. First of all, congratulations for having excellent scores on the qualifying test that you took several weeks ago. With our competition here, it is 7 rounds. You will be asked one question each round. You have 15 seconds to answer the question. You may ask for the question to be repeated one time. At the end of your time, you will be asked to provide an answer. You may say pass if you do not want to make a guess. A pass is scored as an incorrect answer. If you answer correctly, you will be rewarded 1 point. The correct answer will be given if you answer incorrectly. It will then be the next contestant's turn, and then we'll take a short break to tally your totals at the end of the 7th round. And again, welcome everyone. We're so happy you came down this morning. And we're glad to see our parents here with us.
All right, so the first round here is going to be on ancient history. We are going to give you 2 choices, and you'll select the correct answer from those 2 choices. Okay? All right. All right, I'm on. Ammon, we'll start with you.
Should you switch off every question, or?
Sure, I'll take odds, you're going to take evens.
Okay.
All right.
Yep, I want to bump that up just a little bit.
Ammon, the Peloponnesian War was between which 2 countries? Sparta and Athens, or Korea and Japan?
Can you repeat that?
The Peloponnesian War was between which 2 countries? Sparta and Athens, or Korea and Japan?
Korea and Japan?
That is incorrect. It's Sparta and Athens.
Don't laugh, because it's kind of a stressful thing, so be respectful of each other. The next, Branier, come on up. The Greek god of healing, archery, and music was, your choices are Zeus and Apollo.
Apollo.
That is correct.
All right, Brennan. Brennan, this Egyptian god ruled the underworld and symbolized death and resurrection. Was it Osiris or Horus?
Osiris?
That is correct.
Carmen. This Roman general became famous for conquering much of France before being assassinated by his own senators for treason. Choices are Scipio Africanus or Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar.
Don't blurt out any answers in the back. Julius Caesar is correct.
Jack. Jack.
Branier and Hammond.
Mesopotamia was known as the cradle of civilization. It is located between which 2 rivers? The Tigris and the Euphrates, or the Mississippi and the Missouri?
The Tigris and the Euphrates.
Correct.
Dewan. One of the most well-known Egyptian pharaohs, this king became famous when his tomb was discovered in 1922, containing thousands of valuable artifacts? King Tut or King Nebuchadnezzar?
King Tut.
King Tut is correct.
Jackie. Jackie, this Babylonian emperor became famous for the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, as well as defeating the kingdom of Judah and taking over the city of Jerusalem. King Nebuchadnezzar the Great or Emperor Justinian the Great?
Emperor Justinian?
That is incorrect. It was Nebuchadnezzar the Great. All right, Lily.
This Egyptian pharaoh is seen as the greatest, having achieved victory in over 15 wars. He also participated in the first battle in recorded history, in the Battle of Kadesh. Thutmose III, Ramses the Great.
Thutmose III?
That's incorrect. It's Ramses the Great.
All right, Selena. According to legend, the city of Rome was founded by two brothers who were raised by a wolf. Who were these brothers? Romulus and Remus, or Cain and Abel?
Cain and Abel.
It's incorrect. It's Romulus and Remus. Tyler.
Located in modern-day Mexico, this city used to be one of the largest in the world. The Aztecs believed the gods created the universe at this site. Texcoco or Teotihuacan?
Texcoco.
That's incorrect. It's Teotihuacan.
Gannon. This is the first dynasty on record to rule over China. Was it the White Lotus dynasty or the Shang dynasty?
The Shang.
Correct. Carson.
Pop your hood off. Pop your hood off. Pop your hood off. Pop your hood off. Emperor Qin Shi Huang ordered the construction of the most well-known Chinese structure, the Great Wall of China or the Grand Canal of China.
Grand Canal.
That's incorrect. It's the Great Wall of China.
Chris.
Gannon, did he get his right?
Yes. Chris, this large statue was created in celebration of the Rhodians' defense of their city against the Macedonians. It was also one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the Sphinx or the Colossus of Rhodes.
The Colossus of Rhodes.
Correct. Donovan.
In search of advice, many ancient Greeks would seek the advice of the priestesses at this location. The Oracle of Delphi or the Parthenon in Athens?
The Oracle of Delphi.
That's correct. Emmett. Emmett, located in Egypt, this is the only ancient wonder of the world that still exists. The Holy Temple of Jerusalem or the Great Pyramid of Giza?
The Great Pyramid of Giza.
Correct. Julian.
This library was once the center of research, which housed over 100,000 books. It was partially burned by Julius Caesar and later destroyed by the Emperor Aurelian. The Library of Alexandria or the Royal Library of Antioch?
Could you repeat that?
Yes. This library was once the center of research, which housed over 100,000 books. It was partially burned by Julius Caesar and later destroyed by the Emperor Aurelian. The Library of Alexandria or the Royal Library of Antioch.
The Library of Alexandria.
That's correct.
All right, jury. Jury, this ancient building stood over 300 feet tall and helped ships navigate safely into port. It was also one of the ancient wonders of the world, the Lighthouse of Alexandria or the Second Temple of Jerusalem.
The Lighthouse of Alexandria.
Correct.
Liam.
Liam.
This giant statue once stood at over 40 feet tall, honoring the Greek king of the gods. Statue of Zeus at Olympia, statue of Athena at Athens.
A statue of Zeus.
That is correct.
Lynn. This ancient war began when Paris took Helen, the wife of Menelaus. It is covered in the books the Iliad and the Odyssey. Is it the Achaean War or the Trojan War?
The Trojan War.
That is correct. Toby.
This library preserved Roman and Greek knowledge. Located at the capital of the Byzantine Empire, a city now known as Istanbul. The Imperial Library of Constantinople, Hadrian's Library at Athens.
Hadrian's Library at Athens.
It's incorrect. It's the Imperial Library of Constantinople.
Anna. This Norse god is known for wielding a hammer, controlling lightning and thunder, and protecting humans. Is it Thor or Loki?
Thor.
Correct. Annabelle.
This Norse god was known as the Allfather and was Thor's dad. Odin or Balder?
Orden.
I didn't catch that.
Say it again.
Orden.
Correct. Carlos. Carlos, the Norse gods lived in a place called Asgard. Their home in Asgard was called what? Asgardia or Valhalla?
Valhalla.
Correct. Cynthia.
Ancient civilizations collapsed in a cataclysmic event known as what? The Bronze Age collapse, the Great Catastrophe.
Can you repeat that?
Yes. Ancient civilizations collapsed in a cataclysmic event known as what? The Bronze Age collapse, the Great Catastrophe.
The bronze.
Correct.
Gabby. Who is the founder of Buddhism? Confucius or Siddhartha Gautama?
Heart of what?
Say that again.
Heart of.
She got it.
Correct. Giovanni.
What famous Carthage general crossed the Alps to attack Rome with an army which also included elephants? Hannibal or Genghis Khan?
Hannibal.
Hannibal's correct.
Juan. This famous philosopher came out of ancient Greece during the Peloponnesian War. Was it Socrates or Marcus Aurelius?
Marcus Aurelius.
Incorrect. It would have been Socrates. Joseph.
What was the Babylonian king Hammurabi known for? Building canals to irrigate the desert, writing one of the oldest legal codes.
Oh, can you repeat?
Yep. What was the Babylonian king Hammurabi known for? Building canals to irrigate the desert, or writing one of the oldest legal codes?
Building canals to irrigate the desert.
That's incorrect. He wrote a legal code.
William. Alexander the Great's last victory in Asia was in which modern day country? India or China?
India.
Correct. And Jennifer.
In 1974, an ancient terracotta army was discovered at an archaeological dig in what country? Brazil or China?
Brazil.
Incorrect. The answer is China.
All right, that concludes the first round. Moving on to the second round. So the second round, this is going to be more medieval history. Once again, you'll have two choices, and you'll just select the correct choice out of these two. Back up top with Ammon. Charlemagne was king of the Franks, who united most of Europe into one country called what? The Holy Roman Empire or the Lombard League?
Holy Roman Empire.
Correct. Rainer.
The city of Baghdad, Iraq, was founded during the Islamic Golden Age by what empire? The Ottoman Empire or the Abbasid Caliphate?
The Ottoman.
That's incorrect. It's the Abbasid Caliphate.
Brennan. This king and queen unified Spain in 1469 and supported exploration of the Western Hemisphere. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, or Emperor Frederick Barbarossa and Empress Beatrice I?
The second one.
Incorrect. It's King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Carmen.
The fall of Constantinople is often seen as the end of the medieval age. Who defeated the Byzantines at Constantinople? The Ottoman Empire or the Persian Empire?
The Ottoman Empire.
That is correct.
Jack. This Spanish conquistador began the first phase of Spanish colonization of the Americas by defeating the Aztec Empire. Was it Christopher Columbus or Hernan Cortez?
Hernan Cortez.
Correct. Dewan.
Newfoundland in Canada was settled by these European explorers around the year 1000 AD. The Norse, also known as the Vikings, or the British?
The British.
It's incorrect. It is the Norse.
Jackie. The invention of gunpowder is known as one of the four great inventions of what country? China or India?
China.
Correct. Lily.
The wars to free the Holy Land from Muslim control are known as the Holy Wars or the Crusades.
Repeat.
The wars to free the Holy Land from Muslim control are known as the Holy Wars, or the Crusades?
The Crusades.
Crusades is correct.
Selena. The Magna Carta was the first agreement that took power away from who? The Chinese emperor or the English king?
The Chinese emperor.
It's incorrect. Took power from the English king. Tyler.
Peasants are commonly associated with what economic system? The feudal system or the slave system?
Feudal system.
That is correct.
Gannon. William the Conqueror, a Frenchman, conquered and controlled England after winning which battle? The Battle of London or the Battle of Hastings?
The Battle of Hastings.
Correct. Carson.
This terrible disease, known as the Black Death, reduced Europe's population by at least a quarter during the medieval period. Was it the bubonic plague or influenza?
Influenza.
That's incorrect. It's the bubonic plague.
Chris. This influential battle in 732 AD in the mountains of France stopped the Muslim conquest of Europe. Was it the Battle of Valmy or the Battle of Tours?
Tours.
Correct. Donovan.
With the collapse of Rome, the eastern half of the Roman Empire became known as what? The Byzantine Empire or the Sassanids?
Byzantine.
That's correct.
Emmett. These Muslim people ruled Spain during Islam's golden age. Was it the Moors or the Moguls?
Oils.
It's incorrect. It would have been the Moors. Julian.
Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan conquered the world's largest empire. They were from what modern country? India or Mongolia?
Mongolia.
Mongolia is correct.
Jury. Joan of Arc was a peasant girl who led armies against the English from what country? Italy or France?
France.
Correct. Liam.
Craftsmen during the medieval period had to follow production and trade rules that were created by what groups? Trade guilds or unions?
Trade guilds.
Trade guilds is correct.
Lynn. What medieval empire followed the laws called the Code of Justinian? The Egyptian Empire or the Byzantine Empire?
The Byzantine Empire.
Correct. Toby.
The Great Schism split what church into two parts in 1054? Catholic Church, Protestant Church.
Could you repeat that?
Yep. The Great Schism split what church into two parts in 1054? The Catholic Church or the Protestant Church?
The Catholic Church.
Correct.
Anna.
Hey, knock it off.
The great monarch of the Ayyubid dynasty of the Middle East was who? Saladin the Magnificent or Darius the Great?
Saladin.
Correct. Annabelle.
What city was sacked, attacked, damaged, and looted by the Crusaders in 1204? This was a betrayal by the crusading armies who were sent to protect this city. Was it Rome or Constantinople?
Rome.
That's incorrect. It's Constantinople.
Carlos. This famous medieval military order of Catholic knights fought wars in northern Germany and the Baltics of Europe. Was it the Teutonic Knights or the Varangian Guard?
We can't repeat that.
This famous medieval military order of Catholic knights fought wars in northern Germany and the Baltics of Europe. Was it the Teutonic Knights or the Varangian Guard?
Teutonic Knights.
Correct. Cynthia.
Who was the first Holy Roman Emperor? Frederick Barbarossa or Charlemagne?
Charlemagne.
Charlemagne is correct.
Gabby. What were the troubadours of medieval times known for doing? Performing poetry and music, or performing acrobatics and juggling?
Performing music and
Correct. Giovanni.
The nomadic Huns were the most serious threat to what declining empire? Rome or Carthage?
Rome.
Rome is correct.
Juan. Mansa Musa, known as the wealthiest person who ever lived, was the famous ruler of what African empire? Ethiopia or Mali?
Ethiopia.
Incorrect. It would have been Mali. Joseph.
This Mesoamerican city, located in modern-day Mexico, was once the largest city in the world and called the City of the Gods. Teotihuacan or Tenochtitlan?
Teotihuacan.
That is correct.
William. This Mesoamerican civilization collapsed by 900 AD due to wars and climate change. Was it the Mayans or the Persians?
Mayans.
Correct. Jennifer.
What city was the cultural capital of Western Africa during the medieval times? Cairo or Timbuktu?
Timbuktu.
That is correct.
That
Round three.
concludes the second round. The third round here is going to be more early to modern history. Again, you'll be given two choices, and you'll select the correct choice. We go up top again with Ammon. Sorry.
Good job, Amon.
In the early 1800s, the Zulu kingdom was...
Hey, Lynn and Toby.
That's all good. In the early 1800s, the Zulu kingdom was found where? In Eastern Africa or Southern Africa?
Eastern.
Incorrect. It would have been Southern Africa. Rainer.
Which European country had the first colonies in the Americas? The Netherlands or Spain?
Spain.
Spain is correct.
Brennan. Ivan the Terrible added what region to Russia? Siberia or Mongolia?
Siberia.
Correct. Carmen.
England became a great power after the defeat of the French Armada or Spanish Armada?
The French.
Incorrect. It's the Spanish Armada.
Jack. The French King Louis XIV had what unusual nickname? The Star King or the Sun King?
The Star King.
It's incorrect. He was known as the Sun King. Dwan.
Which is the famous William Shakespeare play from this time period? Death of a Salesman or Hamlet?
Hamlin.
Can you repeat that?
Hamlin.
Hamlet is correct.
Jackie. What was the first European country to set up colonies in India? Portugal or Switzerland?
Switzerland.
Incorrect. It would have been Portugal. Lily.
Don Quixote, often called the first modern novel, was written by Miguel de Cervantes. Cervantes was a Mexican author or a Spanish author?
Spanish.
That is correct.
Dana. What was the first permanent English settlement in North America? Jamestown or Roanoke?
Jamestown.
Correct. Tyler.
The Church of England was founded after which English king broke away from the Catholic Church? Henry V or Henry VIII?
Henry VIII.
That is correct.
Gannon.
Selena, did she get hers right?
Yes.
Okay.
Christopher Columbus made territorial claims for Spain. However, he was not from Spain. What was his home country? Greece or Italy?
Italy.
Correct. Carson.
Which Russian monarch began the difficult process of modernization? Peter the Great or Ivan III?
Peter the Great.
Peter the Great is correct.
Chris. To see the marvel called the Palace of Versailles, you would travel to which country? Scotland or France?
France.
Correct. Donovan.
What happened to the French Queen Marie Antoinette? She died in prison or she died by the guillotine?
By the guillotine.
That is correct.
Emmett. Sir Isaac Newton is associated with what scientific law? The law of universal gravitation or the law of conservation of energy?
The law of universal gravitation.
Correct. Julian.
The first English colony in Massachusetts was Boston Colony or Plymouth Colony?
Boston.
That's incorrect. It is Plymouth Colony.
Jury. Kings from the Bourbon dynasty come from which country? France or Italy?
Italy.
It's incorrect. They came from France. Liam.
Which Spanish conquistador defeated the Incan Empire in Peru? Francisco Pizarro or Hernando Cortez?
Hernando Cortez.
That's incorrect. It's Pizarro.
Liam. Who was the Italian Renaissance artist known for his sculptures like David and Pieta? Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci?
Michael something.
Correct, Michelangelo. Toby.
The Glorious Revolution led to a constitutional monarchy in which country? Japan or England?
England.
England is correct.
Anna. This empire controlled most of the Near East from 1299 to 1922. Was it the Ottoman Empire or the Mongolian Empire?
Mongolian.
It's incorrect. It would have been the Ottoman Empire. Annabelle.
The Mughal Empire from 1526 to 1827 was a great power that controlled India or Russia.
Can you repeat that?
Yep. The Mughal Empire from 1526 to 1827 was a great power that controlled India or Russia.
Russia.
That's incorrect. It's India.
Carlos. Ferdinand and Isabella united the Iberian Peninsula and created which modern country? Spain or Sweden?
Spain.
Correct. Cynthia.
The first Europeans to reach southern Africa by ship were the Portuguese or were the British?
British.
It's incorrect. It's the Portuguese.
Gabby. The Ming Dynasty ruled from 1368 to 1644. The Ming Dynasty ruled over which country? Vietnam or China?
Vietnam.
It's incorrect. They ruled over China. Giovanni.
What European empire did Alaska once belong to? The Kingdom of Denmark or the Russian Empire?
The Russian Empire.
That is correct.
Juan. The Kingdom of Great Britain formed in 1707, when which place joined with England? Was it Scotland or Ireland?
Scotland.
Correct. Joseph.
What empire ruled over large parts of Europe for almost 1,000 years, ending in 1806? The Prussian Empire or the Holy Roman Empire?
Prussian Empire.
That's incorrect. It's the Holy Roman Empire.
William. In 1368, the Ming Dynasty defeated the Yuan Dynasty by capturing the capital of China. This ended Mongolian rule of China. What was the city? Beijing or Hong Kong?
Beijing.
Correct. Jennifer.
Russia became a major European power in 1709 when it defeated this country at the Battle of Poltava. Your choices are Norway or Sweden.
Norway.
It's incorrect, it's Sweden.
All right, moving on to the fourth round. Now, the fourth round is going to be more modern history. This time, we're just going to ask you a question, and you are going to have to provide the answer on your own. Okay? So, starting from the top with Eamon. All right. What European country was reunified after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1990?
Germany.
Correct. Brainer.
What country was Joseph Stalin the leader of during the Cold War?
Soviet Union.
Correct.
Brennan. This major war began in 1914.
World War One.
Correct. Carmen. I should add a little more context to that one.
What was the first African country to win independence from its colonizer in 1957?
Can you repeat that?
Yep. What was the first African country to win independence from its colonizer in 1957?
Sudan.
It's incorrect. It's Ghana.
Jack. This major war in Asia was fought from 1950 to 1953.
Can you repeat that?
Yep. This war in Asia was fought from 1950 to 1953.
Pass.
That would have been the Korean War. Dewan.
What country was Margaret Thatcher the first female prime minister of?
Could you repeat that?
What country was Margaret Thatcher the first female prime minister of?
England.
Correct.
Jackie. Yuri Gagarin was the first man to ever reach space in 1961. What country was he from?
Can you repeat that?
Yep. Yuri Gagarin was the first man to reach space in 1961. What country was he from?
Pass.
It would have been the Soviet Union. Lily.
Nagasaki is in what country?
Japan.
Correct.
Selena. Indira Gandhi was the first female prime minister of what country?
England.
I've been India. Tyler.
Rosa Parks helped start a civil rights bus boycott in what state?
Alabama.
Correct.
Gannon. This great outer space event happened in 1969, fulfilling President Kennedy's promise.
The first moon landing.
Correct. Carson.
Nelson Mandela was an important civil rights leader from what African country?
Pass.
South Africa is the correct answer.
Chris. What war did the United States become involved in 1941 after the attack on Pearl Harbor?
World War II.
Correct. Donovan.
India won its independence from what European country, mainly using nonviolent protests and actions?
Great Britain.
Correct.
Emmett. The military was in control of this South American country from 1964 to 1985.
Pass.
It would be Brazil. Julian.
Benazir Bhutto was the first female prime minister of what South Asian nation?
Pass.
Pakistan.
Jury. Fidel Castro overthrew the Batista government on what island nation in 1959?
What? I don't know.
It'd be Cuba. Liam.
Yeah. Before the American dollar dominated world trade, people used this currency from Britain called what?
The pound.
That is correct.
Lynn. Augusto Pinochet was a brutal military ruler of what South American country from 1973 to 1990?
Dominica?
No, it'd be Chile.
Mao Zedong became the communist leader of what country in 1949 after a successful revolution?
Could you repeat that?
Mao Zedong became the communist leader of what country in 1949 after a successful revolution?
China.
Correct.
Hannah. Pancho Villa was trying to overthrow the government of what country in the early 1900s?
Pass.
Would have been Mexico. Annabelle.
Apartheid, the brutal separation of blacks and whites, was a main feature of which African country until 1994?
Can you repeat that?
Apartheid, the brutal separation of blacks and whites, was a main feature of which African country until 1994?
Pass.
South Africa.
Carlos. What is the name given for a mass murder of a people? For example, the Hutu militias killing the Tutsi minority in Rwanda in 1994.
Pass.
It's called a genocide. Cynthia.
Angela Merkel has been called the most powerful woman in politics in recent years. What country was she from?
Pass.
Germany is the correct answer.
Burns, we've already used this one. I'm gonna skip down
Yeah.
here, so I'm gonna skip to 29.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna start again at 30. Alright, Gabby. At over 350 kilometers per hour, the maglev is the fastest train in the world and can be found in what country?
China?
Correct. Giovanni.
What infectious disease did the Salk vaccine help prevent starting in 1955?
Pass.
Answer is polio.
Juwan. The first cochlear implant was performed in 1961 by William House. What part of the human body did this help?
The lungs.
Incorrect. It would have been the hearing. Joseph.
What organ that filters blood and produces urine was first transplanted in 1954?
Pass.
Kidneys.
William. Greta Thunberg was a teenage environmental activist that's gained worldwide attention, and she comes from what country?
May you repeat?
Yep. Greta Thunberg was a teenage environmental activist who's gained worldwide attention, and she comes from what country?
China?
She comes from Sweden. Jennifer.
After leaving office, what American president worked with Habitat for Humanity to build homes for the poor?
Pass.
Jimmy Carter. Cynthia and Gabby.
Cynthia was incorrect. Gabby was correct. Alright, so the fifth round is going to be a little different. This is all going to be United States history. We're going to give you three answers are going to be presented. Two of them are correct. You've got to find out or name which one is incorrect. Okay, so this is all U.S. history. We're going to give you three facts. Two of them match the question. You've got to find which one doesn't belong. All right.
Does everybody understand that? Okay.
just tell them which one's wrong?
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe give your brain a little bit of time to think about all your choices here before you respond.
All right. Which of these three facts have no connection to the effort of the 13 colonies to win independence from England? We got Lexington and Concord, the Battle of New Orleans, or the Declaration of Independence?
The New Orleans one?
Correct.
Which of the three facts have nothing to do with the Louisiana Purchase of 1803? Napoleon Bonaparte, France, George Washington.
George Washington.
That's correct.
Brennan. Which of these three facts have nothing to do with climate change? Carbon monoxide, burning of fossil fuels, or carbon dioxide?
Carbon monoxide.
Correct. Carmen.
Which fact is not connected to the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962? Nuclear weapons, naval blockade, invasion of Cuba.
The middle one.
No, it's the invasion of Cuba.
Jack. Which of these facts below have nothing to do with the 1970s political scandal known as Watergate? Selling defense secrets to the enemy, President Richard Nixon's resignation, or a failed burglary of a rival?
Can you repeat?
Yep. Which of these facts below have nothing to do with the 1970s political scandal known as Watergate? Selling defense secrets to the enemy, President Richard Nixon's resignation, or a failed burglary of a rival political party?
The third one.
It's incorrect. It was the selling defense secrets to the enemy. Dewan.
Which of these three facts are not related to World War I? President Theodore Roosevelt, the League of Nations, the armistice on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month.
Could you repeat that?
Yep. Which of the three facts below are not related to World War I? President Theodore Roosevelt, the League of Nations, the armistice on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month.
The second one?
Nope, it's Theodore Roosevelt.
Jackie. Which of the three facts have no relationship to the Korean War? 1950 to 1953, the 38th parallel, or General Patton?
Can you repeat that?
Yep. Which of the three facts have no relationship to the Korean War? 1950 to 1953, the 38th parallel, or General Patton?
The second one?
It's incorrect. It would have been General Patton. Lily.
Which of these three facts has no connection to the Compromise of 1820? It was signed by President Andrew Jackson. It was also called the Missouri Compromise. Henry Clay had many ideas that made up the compromise.
Repeat.
Which of these three facts has no connection to the Compromise of 1820? It was signed by President Andrew Jackson. It was also called the Missouri Compromise. Henry Clay had many ideas that made up the compromise.
Henry Clay.
No, it's Andrew Jackson.
Selena. Which of these three facts has no connection with the Great Depression? The Dust Bowl, the New Deal, or the Iron Dome?
The Dust Bowl.
It's incorrect. It'd be the Iron Dome. Tyler.
Which fact has no connection to the Lewis and Clark expedition of 1804 to 1806? They found the Grand Canyon. They were sent by President Jefferson. They reached the Pacific Ocean.
The first one.
That is correct.
Gannon. Which of these three facts has no connection with the Emancipation Proclamation? It freed the slaves, it made Colorado a state, or President Abraham Lincoln?
It made Colorado a state.
Correct. Carson.
Which fact has no connection to the Constitutional Convention? It was held in Philadelphia. The writers said slavery would end in 1808. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest delegate to attend.
The Benjamin Franklin.
That is incorrect. It's the writers said slavery would end in 1808.
Chris. There you go. Which fact has no connection with the attack on Pearl Harbor? Tora, Tora, Tora. The USS Arizona is destroyed, or Japan surrenders.
Japan surrenders.
Correct. Donovan.
What was the, did he get it right?
Yep.
We're number 14, correct? Which of the three facts listed below have no connection to the Mexican-American War? It was started by President Millard Fillmore. It was ended by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. It involved a border dispute with the Rio Grande River.
The first one.
That is correct.
Emmett. Which of the three facts listed below has no connection to the invention of the cotton gin? It was invented by Eli Whitney. It made slavery more profitable. Farmers lost their jobs because of this new technology.
The second one.
That's incorrect. It would have been farmers losing their jobs because of the technology. Julian.
Which of the three facts listed about the Seneca Falls Convention of 1848 is incorrect? It took place in Seneca Falls, New York. It took place in Seneca Falls, Virginia. It was about suffrage or women asking for the right to vote.
The first one?
It's incorrect. It's the second one, Seneca Falls, Virginia.
Jury. Which of the three facts listed below is incorrect about prohibition? It made alcohol more popular. It increased gangster activity in St. Paul. It was repealed by the 23rd Amendment.
One. The first one.
It's incorrect. Is that it was repealed by the 23rd Amendment. Liam.
Which is the incorrect fact about the Battle of the Alamo in 1836? The Western hero Davy Crockett was killed here. The Western hero Daniel Boone was killed here. Mexican General Santa Anna won a victory over Texas forces.
The second one.
Second one is correct.
Lynn. Which of the three facts listed below has no connection with industrialization? Robots were used in place of people. Factories were built. Unions demanded better pay.
The first one.
Correct. Toby.
Which is an incorrect fact about the Erie Canal, which was completed in 1825? It is called Erie because of all the men who died digging it. It connects the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean. It's mainly found in New York.
The second one.
It's incorrect. It's called Erie because of all the men who died digging it is incorrect.
Anna. Which of the three facts about the Civil War is incorrect? Jefferson Davis was president of the Confederacy. Kentucky sided with the Confederacy. New Orleans was the largest city in the South.
The first one.
It's incorrect. It would have been Kentucky siding with the Confederacy. Annabelle.
Which fact about the Emancipation Proclamation is incorrect? It was issued by President Abraham Lincoln. It went into effect on January 1st, 1863. It didn't actually free any slaves at the time it was issued.
The third one.
That is correct.
Carlos. What choice about the Reconstruction era is false? Blacks came to enjoy complete equality. Reconstruction is the name for the years after the Civil War. The Freedmen's Bureau tried to help the newly freed slaves start their new lives.
The first one?
Correct. Cynthia.
What choice about the Spanish-American War is false? Theodore Roosevelt became famous for charging San Juan Hill. The United States declared war after the USS Maine exploded. The United States liberated all Spanish possessions in the Pacific Ocean.
The third one?
Third one is correct.
Gabby. Which part about Franklin Roosevelt's life is incorrect? He was a national hero for fighting in World War I. He broke Washington's tradition of retiring after serving 2 terms. He had been crippled in adulthood by polio.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yep. Which part about Franklin Roosevelt's life is incorrect? He was a national hero for fighting in World War I. He broke Washington's tradition of retiring after serving 2 terms. He had been crippled in adulthood by polio.
The first one?
Correct. Giovanni.
Which fact about the Korean War is false? The Korean War never ended with a peace treaty. North Korea and South Korea are divided along the 38th parallel. The United States dropped nuclear bombs on China to end the war.
The third one?
Third one is correct.
Juwan. Which fact about the famous 1897 Supreme Court decision called Plessy versus Ferguson is incorrect? It legalized segregation in the United States. It only affected the former Confederate states. The suit was brought by Homer Plessy.
The second one.
Correct. Joseph.
Which fact about the Great Depression is wrong? It started with the stock market crash in 1929. The Great Depression hurt countries all around the world. It began when Hitler and the Nazis invaded Poland in 1939.
The second one?
Nope, it's the third one, with Hitler invading Poland.
William. Which fact about the Little Rock Nine is incorrect? The residents of Little Rock, Arkansas welcomed the 9 new students to their school. President Eisenhower sent the 101st Airborne Division to enforce the Supreme Court decision. The 9 black teenagers desegregated Central High School.
The first one.
Correct. Jennifer.
Which fact about Juneteenth is incorrect? Celebrates January 1st, 1863, when the Emancipation Proclamation was enacted. It celebrates June 19th, 1865, when the Union Army enforced the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas. It became a federal holiday in 2021.
The first one.
The first one is correct.
All right, the sixth round. This is back to world history. Once again, similar to the first round, we're going to give you two choices. All right, you'll select the correct answer. All right, Eamon. Who was the last pharaoh of Egypt? Nectanebo II or Cleopatra?
The first one?
It's incorrect. It would have been Cleopatra. Rainer.
The storming of the Bastille on July 14th, 1789 started what revolution? French Revolution, Russian Revolution.
Can you repeat?
Yep. The storming of the Bastille on July 14th, 1789 started what revolution? French Revolution or the Russian Revolution?
French Revolution?
That is correct.
Brennan. Which civilization gets credit for developing the first writing system? The Mayans or the Sumerians?
The Sumerians?
Correct. Carmen.
What ship carried the Pilgrims to North America in 1620? The Mayflower or the Endurance?
The Mayflower.
Correct.
Jeff. This treaty officially ended the First World War. The Treaty of Versailles or the Treaty of Paris?
Can you repeat?
Yep. This treaty officially ended the First World War. The Treaty of Versailles or the Treaty of Paris?
The second one?
It's incorrect. It would have been the Treaty of Versailles. Go on.
What country did the Renaissance begin in? Italy or Germany?
Italy?
Correct.
Jackie. Which famous document started taking power away from English kings? The English Constitution or the Magna Carta?
English Constitution.
It's incorrect. It would have been the Magna Carta. Lily.
Who was the founder of the Mongol Empire? Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan.
Correct.
Selena. What famous scientist had a research ship called the HMS Beagle? Albert Einstein or Charles Darwin?
Albert Einstein.
It's incorrect. It would have been Charles Darwin. Tyler.
Democracy began in a city in which modern country? Greece or Turkey?
Greece.
Correct.
Gannon. The Mauryan Empire is connected to the modern country of what? Indonesia or India?
Indonesia.
It's incorrect. It would have been India. Carson.
What was the capital of the Incan Empire? Teotihuacan or Cusco?
Can you repeat?
Yep. What was the capital of the Incan Empire? Teotihuacan or Cusco?
The first one.
Nope, it's Cusco.
Chris. What famous trade route connected the riches of China to the Mediterranean world? The Silk Road or the Spice Trail?
Silk Road.
Correct.
Yeah.
Donovan.
The ancient citadel. This ancient citadel can be found in Guatemala. What civilization built Tikal? The Mayans or the Aztecs?
Aztecs.
Incorrect. It's the Mayans.
Confucius was a famous philosopher from what country? China or Korea?
Korea.
It's incorrect. He comes from China. Julian.
Where was the Mali Empire located? Western Africa or Northern Africa?
Western.
Correct.
Jury. The Ethiopian Emperor Menelik II kept his country independent by defeating which European country at the Battle of Adwa? Germany or Italy?
Italy.
Correct. Liam.
Persepolis was the capital of what ancient empire? Khmer or Persian?
Persian.
Persian is correct.
Lynn. These are the oldest known set of laws ever written. The Code of Hammurabi or the Analects of Confucius?
The Analects of Confucius.
Incorrect. It would have been the Code of Hammurabi. Toby.
Which ancient people were the first to discover the mathematical idea of the number 0? The Indus civilization or the Mayans?
The Mayans.
Correct.
Anna. The land between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers was called what? Judea or Mesopotamia?
Mesopotamia.
Correct. Annabelle.
Queen Elizabeth II broke the record for the longest reign of a monarch that was previously held by Queen Victoria or Prince Albert.
Can you repeat?
Queen Elizabeth II broke the record for the second longest reign of a monarch that was previously held by, was it Queen Victoria or Prince Albert?
Queen Victoria.
Queen Victoria is correct.
Carlos. Toussaint Louverture won a revolution known for being the only successful slave revolt in history and set up a republic in which modern country? Cuba or Haiti?
Haiti.
Correct. Cynthia.
The American presidential statement that told European powers to leave the Western Hemisphere alone is known as the Truman Doctrine or Monroe Doctrine.
The first one.
Incorrect. It's Monroe Doctrine.
Gabby. Karl Marx wrote a famous political book called what? Das Kapital or The Wealth of Nations?
The Wealth of Nations.
It's incorrect. He wrote Das Kapital. Giovanni.
Who invented the telephone? Alexander Graham Bell or Thomas Edison?
Thomas Edison.
Incorrect. It's Bell.
Juan. This famous European conqueror was finished after his defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. Was it Lord Cornwallis or Napoleon Bonaparte?
War Cornwallis.
It's incorrect. It would have been Napoleon Bonaparte. Joseph.
Tsar Nicholas II was the last emperor of which country? Russia or Germany?
Russia.
Russia is correct.
William. What country was the first to give women the right to vote in national elections? New Zealand or Australia?
New Zealand.
It's incorrect. It would have been Australia. Jennifer.
What event triggered the Great Depression starting in 1929? The stock market crash or the Dust Bowl?
The first one.
Correct.
All right. The seventh round, this is going to be geography. We're going to give you a question, and then you're going to have to provide the answer. All right. Start up top. Eamon. Kyoto is the ancient capital of what country?
Pass.
It would have been Japan. Brainer.
What famous canal connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans?
The Panama Canal.
Correct.
Brennan. Name 3 of the world's 4 oceans.
Indian, Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic.
Well, you went above and beyond. Sorry, I don't give you extra credit for that, though. Carmen.
Okay, boys. What is Europe's longest river? The Volga.
All right, Jack.
The Danube's
Oh, yeah, I should have known that one. All right, excuse me. What mountain range is the tallest in the world?
Can you repeat?
Yep. What mountain range is the tallest in the world?
The Alps.
It's incorrect. It's the Himalayas. Dewan.
What is the capital of Australia?
Pass.
Canberra.
Jackie. What is the largest country in Africa by area?
Pass.
It'd be Algeria. Lily.
The tallest waterfall in the world is in Venezuela, and it goes by what name?
Repeat.
The tallest waterfall in the world is in Venezuela, and it goes by what name?
Pass.
Angel Falls.
Selena. What is North America's longest river?
Mississippi.
Incorrect, it's the Missouri. Tyler.
Which continent is the driest?
Antarctica.
Correct.
Gannon. What is the capital of the Philippines?
Repeat.
What is the capital of the Philippines?
Pass.
It would be Manila. Carson.
What is the most populous country in Africa? What is the most populous country in Africa?
Pass.
Nigeria.
Chris. Which Canadian province is home to Canada's French-speaking population?
Pass.
Be Quebec. Donovan.
What world religion began on the Arabian Peninsula?
Repeat.
What world religion began on the Arabian Peninsula?
Buddhism.
Correct answer is Islam.
Emmett. Which U.S. state is called the Sunshine State?
Pass.
That would be Florida. Julian.
What mountain range separates Europe from Asia?
Pass.
The Urals.
Jury. What country is known as the world's largest democracy because of its large population?
North Korea.
Incorrect, it would be India. Lynn. Excuse me, Liam.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
What two countries share the longest international border?
Pass.
Would be Canada and the United States.
Lynn. What state is home to the Grand Canyon?
Oh, Arizona.
Correct. Toby.
Tegucigalpa is the capital of which Central American country?
Could you repeat?
You betcha. Tegucigalpa is the capital of which Central American country?
Pass.
Honduras.
Anna. What mountain range is found in France, Italy, and Switzerland?
Pass.
That would be the Alps. Annabelle.
What river forms the cradle of Egypt's ancient civilization?
Can you repeat?
What river forms the cradle of Egypt's ancient civilization?
Pass.
The Nile.
Carlos. What are the two hemispheres created by the prime meridian?
Pass.
It'd be the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. Cynthia.
The island of Honshu is part of what country?
Pass.
Japan.
Gabby. What is the capital city of Russia?
Pass.
That'd be Moscow. Giovanni.
Name a country on the Scandinavian peninsula.
Can you repeat it?
Yep. Name a country on the Scandinavian peninsula.
Pass.
We would have accepted Norway, Sweden, or Finland.
Joanne.
Hey.
This country is made up of over 18,000 islands.
Can you repeat that?
Yep. This country is made up of over 18,000 islands.
Japan?
That'd be Indonesia. Joseph.
What is the largest religion in the country of India?
Hinduism?
Hinduism is correct.
William. The ruins of Angkor Wat are found in what Southeast Asian country?
May you repeat?
Yep. The ruins of Angkor Wat are found in what Southeast Asian country?
Pass.
Will be Cambodia. And Yennefer.
What river forms part of the border between the United States and Mexico?
Pass.
The Rio Grande.
Alright, so that concludes round 7. Burns and I, we are going to count up the correct answers for everyone so we can get our top 10. Then we'll be moving on to the semifinal round. So you guys can take a nice little stretch break, but please don't go far.
Can you wear the napkins are?
The napkins? Oh, they're right there. Yeah. I've got 9. Oh,
Still going here.
What kind of happened in go first and second hour? Why do you keep her?
Suppose you should check my tallies off against yours.
Oh, I'm sorry. 30 hours too.
We got a few that are off.
I would go with yours.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, what I do see though is we have 9 who scored 5 and above,
Okay.
and then we have a lot who scored 4. Should we just go with the top 9? So now do a tiebreaker.
I think so.
Yeah, because you and I would have had the same top 9. So we don't have to do
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I've got at least 6 or 4. So going on, we're gonna have Rain. We're
Okay.
gonna have Brennan. We're gonna have Tyler. Chris.
Yeah. Yep. Be quick about it though. You should have won already.
Liam and Lynn.
Liam.
And Carlos.
And Carlos. Okay. So, look at that. Just make sure.
Yep.
Copy this for you.
Oh, I got one right here.
Oh, you wrote it down too? Oh man, you're good. Should we hand out the medals before we start firing questions at these guys? Because we'll dismiss the other.
And then I also got the pins too that
Somebody gave us.
asked us to hand out here. All right, boys and girls, if you want to start making your way back. So we are going to end up taking 9 to the semifinal round. These 9 individuals got 5 or 6 correct from that preliminary round. Yep. So moving on to the semifinal round, we're going to have Brainer, Brennan, Tyler, Gannon, Chris, Donovan, Liam, Lynn, and Carlos. Okay, those 9 individuals will move on to the semifinal round. For everyone else, we do have pins up here. If you'd like to come up and grab one for your participation. And then you may head back to class. It looks like pretty darn good shape because third hour will be starting up here soon.
All right, before you go, let's give everybody a big round of applause. And we'll have you head back, and our finalists come on up here and grab a American flag pen. Thank you.
This is a tough thing. Wherever you have one.
You smiled on every single question. didn't get any points for that. Cynthia did a great job.
Already got one. That's the Veterans Day. I just got one in the last day.
Good job.
I think it's a blue stitch better.
Bro, I read the Texas one because of the Texas
Did you stay here? If you got to the semifinals.
Yeah, Gannon got. Oh, Gannon was fooling around with that one day. I remember
You
that.
should come up to the front row. Yeah.
Talking about me?
Look at Carlos.
Over there.
Do you have the whiteboards?
I do. Should we seat them in the order we have them on our thing?
Yeah, we should probably do that. All right, we're gonna seat you in the order we have you written down. So Brainer, you're gonna be on your far right, followed by Brennan, followed by Tyler, followed by Gannon, followed by Chris, followed by Donovan, followed by Liam, followed by Lynn, followed by Carlos. That way when you hold up, we're gonna end up giving you guys all whiteboards. So when you hold up your signs, I don't mark a correct answer for the wrong person. That'd be a little embarrassing. Yes. All right. Do you want to grab those whiteboards?
Yep.
I'll go through the instructions.
Come on up here.
All right. So for the semifinal round, okay, the goal here is we are going to try and reduce down to the top two who will be going on to the championship round. Okay, these two finalists will compete in the championship. In the semifinal round, all right, you will be eliminated after answering 2 questions incorrectly. Okay, so we're going to ask a series of questions. You get 1 wrong answer, you're still alive. If you get 2 wrong answers, then you're going to be eliminated. If the student has been eliminated, question will begin with the next available student. After each student on the stage has responded to a question in a series, those who gave their second incorrect answer will be excused from the stage unless all are eliminated. If this happens, those students who gave their second incorrect answer during that series will continue to receive final round questions until 2 finalists are determined. If only 1 student remains after a series of questions, that student automatically becomes one of the finalists and will be asked no more questions. Those students who gave their second incorrect answer during the series will continue to receive questions until the second finalist is determined. Basically what's going to happen, we're going to ask all of you guys a question. You're going to write down your response. You're going to show the boards. If you get it correct, great. If not, we'll mark it down as incorrect. We're just going to go until we got 2 left. Okay? Any questions?
Yeah, those directions are complicated.
Yeah, it's a word salad here. Yeah, basically answer the question. If you get it right, you keep moving on. If you get it wrong, you keep going on until you get a second question wrong. Yes, Gannon?
Where's the person who wins the finals get?
Hmm?
Where's the person who wins the finals get?
Trip to Hawaii, a new car,
Bet.
And this
scholarship.
fancy trophy right here.
Wow. Real gold.
It is solid gold.
25 carat.
Yeah, don't.
27. No, I think it's 30.
30 carat.
All right, is everyone relaxed? Take a deep breath. You deserve to be here.
How much rounds is it?
Well,
We're
like
gonna
you
keep.
said.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going until we have 2 guys left. All right. We all ready?
Wait, do you have to spell it right or no?
As long as we can understand what it is that you're trying to spell. Now, if you put like ZY4W, that's going to be incorrect. Sorry, I don't know what you're trying to tell me.
And remember, write nice and big too, because I'm 175 years old.
We're old. Hard of hearing, hard of seeing. All right. Are we all ready?
Yeah.
Wonderful. First question, gentlemen. Socrates chose death instead of exile from Athens. How did he die?
Can you repeat it?
Yep. Socrates chose death instead of exile from Athens. How did he die? All right. Wait to flip over your boards until everyone's ready. Yes.
So is it like a type of execution, or can I just put execution?
You're gonna have to be more specific than that.
This out of the way. Make it worse, huh?
Oh, we decided to put wheels in the front and not. All right, are we all ready? Perfect. 3, 2, 1. You want to flip your boards
And then
over?
hold them up.
I'll leave it to Brian and Donovan. Do no suicide. All right, you can flip your boards over.
What was it?
Brennan and Donovan, suicide by poisoning. I just want to make sure. Okay.
In 2012, many people believed the world was going to end because of the Mayan calendar. What was the issue with the Mayan calendar? In 2012, many people believed the world was going to end because of the Mayan calendar. What was the issue with the Mayan calendar?
All right. Are we all ready?
No.
No?
Okay.
All right. Let's flip them over. Rhiannon, Chris, Donovan, Lee.
Lynn.
Okay. Yep, so the calendar ended. The calendar ended.
Did I get it right, Brent?
Yes.
I got it right. You got
All
it
right.
right.
So Brennan, Tyler, Gannon, Chris, Donovan, Liam. So moving on to question 3.
We should brand here
Yep.
and Lynn and Carlos.
Yep. Okay.
Branier, Lynn, and Carlos. So you got your second incorrect question. So we're going to have you move to the back row and just stay here.
We got 6 guys moving on. All right. Next question. The Protestant Reformation began with the 95 Thesis written by which monk? So the Protestant Reformation began with the 95 Thesis written by which monk? All right, are we ready? No?
Good.
Okay.
Write it quick, nice and big.
All right, we all ready? Perfect. All right. All right. Yep. So, all right. Yes, it was Martin Luther.
Nah. I thought it was Protestant, not Lutheran.
So Gannon and
Yep.
Chris and
So-
Liam.
Yep. So we have our top three.
So Gannon and Chris and Liam, you guys move to the back now. We have three.
Top three right
So
now:
you move back,
Brennan,
Gannon.
Tyler, and Donovan.
You had Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh. Not a win for me.
All right, you guys ready? The Portuguese began expanding due north to the due. Let me start again. The Portuguese began expanding due to the efforts of what prince? The Portuguese began expanding due to the efforts of what prince? Name the prince.
Don't turn the answer over yet. We all ready?
Brennan, make sure you write big.
All right, you ready? Let's turn the whiteboards over. Brennan, you're close. Not quite. It's not Prince Harry, it's Prince Henry. Prince Henry the Navigator.
Tyler goes down and we have our final two, correct?
Yep.
All right, Tyler, you're going to join the guys in the back now.
Congratulations on taking third place. And moving on to the championship round, we will have Brennan and Donovan. Gentlemen in the back, if you want to come up for a little medal for your semifinal. Just please don't cause a lot of ruckus with these medals.
You can wear them all day, though, if you want.
Yeah. Just don't be clinking them in the background there. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bought them in bulk.
Okay.
You're welcome. No, no, don't do that.
Exactly what he said not to do.
Okay, so we're going to switch to our final round. And we have Brennan
Yep.
and Donovan.
Yep. All right, guys. This round is going to be very similar to the semifinal round. Okay. So, congratulations to both of our finalists, Brennan and Donovan. We're now going to compete in the championship round. You're going to be competing with a clean slate. So anything you got wrong in the semifinal round, don't worry about it. This is a new round. Championship round consists of 3 questions. I'll ask both of you the same question at the same time. You'll have 15 seconds to write your answer, very similar to the semifinal round. I'll ask each of you to turn and read your answers out loud. I'll wait to give the correct answer until both answers have been read. Whoever correctly answers the most questions in the set of 3 will be the school champion. As before, you're not going to be penalized for an inaccurate pronunciation or spelling as long as it can be determined that you know the correct answer. If there's a tie after the set of 3, the tiebreaker is going to be kind of a sudden death after that. Okay, but we'll ask 3, and we'll start with that. Okay. Do we have any questions before we get rolling? Okay. All right. Are you guys ready? Perfect. What is the name given to the 2011 widespread protests in many Middle Eastern countries where people asked for greater freedoms and protested their corrupt governments? What is the name given to the 2011 widespread protests in many Middle Eastern countries where people asked for greater freedoms and protested against corrupt governments? Both ready? All right, you want to flip your boards over?
And then read your answer, Brennan.
Civil rights protest.
The answer,
Nope. Let Donovan read his too.
got nothing?
Nothing?
All right. The answer is the Arab Spring.
You say our guns.
Okay, clear your board. What term was coined for the United Kingdom leaving the European Union?
Yes.
Again, what term was coined for the United Kingdom leaving the European Union? Do you have answers? Okay.
All right. Term was called Brexit. For Britain exiting the European Union. Brexit. All right, next one. What do the letters in NATO stand for? What do the
Hey,
letters...
no.
Boys in the back. What do the letters in NATO stand for? Ready? You guys want to flip your boards?
I have national.
All right. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. All right, so moving on now, since we're both tied, it's going to be sudden death now, moving into question 4.
We got plenty. Okay.
Yeah,
How about if we jump to number 26?
works for me.
The Kyoto Protocol was industrialized nations to stop emitting so many greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. What country was this agreement made in? And I'll read it again. The Kyoto Protocol was asked industrialized nations to stop emitting so many greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. What country was this agreement made in? Do both of you have an answer? All right. Turn your boards over, and Brennan, what do you have?
China.
Correct answer is Japan. So we keep playing.
All right, next round. This former NBA player is known for winning a record 11 championships with the Boston Celtics. So this former NBA player is known for winning a record 11 championships with the Boston Celtics.
Looks like we have answers. How about turning your boards over and Brennan, read.
Correct answer is Bill Russell.
Ready for the next one? Another sports question. Known as the Rumble in the Jungle, this boxing match saw Muhammad Ali reclaim the heavyweight title by upsetting what previously undefeated boxer? Should name his opponent. Known as the Rumble in the Jungle, this boxing match saw Muhammad Ali reclaim the heavyweight title by upsetting what previously undefeated boxer? Time, Brennan? Okay.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Correct answer is George Foreman. Between 1609 and 1854, this was the only European country allowed to trade with Japan. Between 1609 and 1854, this was the only European country allowed to trade with Japan. Are we ready?
Looks like we're good. Brennan, what do you have?
Correct answer was the Netherlands.
This Hawaiian queen was the last monarch of the Hawaiian kingdom until the United States overthrew her in 1893. Name the queen. Okay, settle down in the back. This Hawaiian queen was the last monarch of the Hawaiian kingdom until the United States overthrew her in 1893.
You guys ready? The Queen Liliuokalani. All right. Next one. Known as the Red Baron, this German ace shot down 80 Allied planes during World War I. What was his real name? Known as the Red Baron, this German ace shot down 80 Allied planes during World War I. What was his real name? I think points more famous than the state.
Okay. All right, what do we have?
The Manfred von Richthofen.
Okay. The Transcontinental Railroad was completed in 1869 when the Union Pacific Railroad and the Central Pacific Railroad met at what famous place? So the Transcontinental Railroad was completed in 1869 when the Union Pacific Railroad and the Central Pacific Railroad met at what famous place? right, how about show me your boards?
Yeah. Promontory Point, Utah. All right. The Great Recession in 2008 was triggered by this economic event. The Great Recession in 2008 was triggered by this economic event. All right, you guys want to flip your boards? All right,
Market crash.
Stock market crash.
it's the housing market crash.
Good answer.
Good answer, though. I knew something crashed.
Are you ready? The oldest settlement in North America was created by the Spanish in 1566. What is its name? The oldest settlement in North America was created by the Spanish in 1566. What is its name? All right, do we have anything?
St. Augustine, Florida. All right. Known as Motown, this Michigan city was once known for building automobiles. Known as Motown, this Michigan city was once known for building automobiles. All right, guys ready? Nothing? It is Detroit, Michigan,
Our champion.
and we have our champion.
Let's give them a big round. Both guys a big round of applause. All right. Brennan, come on up here.
Yep.
Now it's
You have one out there, and we're gonna get. Don't go, guys. We'll get a picture with all of you. Donovan, what's the chalice called in Harry Potter? The Triwizard Cup? Goblet of Fire, yeah. We have our chalice of history.
Congratulations.
Okay, so let's come up, and then you guys stand behind Donovan and Brennan.